What if you could fund your education by playing games? For many people, that can be considered a bit of a dream in many possible forms. Making YouTube videos, streaming, making clips to post as short-form content. But no, what if you could fund your education from hitting certain achievements and goalposts in the games that you love? Recently, various posts have been floating around the internet where a university has done just that. You'll be granted up to $15,000 per year for hitting certain achievements in various games at the University of Silicon Valley. The Max Achievement Scholarship covers a variety of games. I'll show the full list on screen here, but to name a few, it considers Final Fantasy XIV and other MMOs, to Genshin Impact, Hades and Spelunky 2, Dark Souls, Celeste, Cuphead, Factorio, Chess.com, Minecraft, Geometry Dash, and general achievement hunting too. It's an expansive list, and this might sound pretty great. In all honesty, as someone who is from England and had my student loan from student finance here, I can't necessarily automatically put into perspective how much WoW is attached to the value of this scholarship. Looking at the information I can find on the university website, it's possible that this scholarship isn't something to automatically dismiss. Or is it? We'll get to it. The scholarship is to recognise and honour students who have demonstrated exceptional persistence, systems thinking, and creative problem solving, even in digital worlds. It's for those who have demonstrated extraordinary mastery, persistence, and systems thinking through the completion of rare and demanding achievements in digital gaming environments. Makes sense, right? You wouldn't hand over $15,000 to someone for surviving their first night in Minecraft, or gaining access to their Chocobo companion in Final Fantasy XIV. The scholarship is structured as follows. There are two tiers to this scholarship. Mastery tier for up to $7,500 per year, and Legendary tier for up to $15,000 per year. The total award will be decided by the tier earned by your achievement, plus a weighted evaluation of your essay and academic readiness. There's a few other terms, such as a GPA renewal requirement, compliance, and that this does not stack with the esports scholarship. All achievements need to be verifiable through official public profiles, APIs, or clear screenshots. Seems simple enough. You can also apply if you've completed extraordinary achievements that aren't listed on the website. So let's look at the achievement categories. I play a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, so that's what I'll focus on first. Okay, so the Legendary tier. Up to $15,000 per year. Take a second to guess what this requirement might be. Might it be ultimate clears? Maybe solo deep dungeon runs? Wait, maybe it could be something to do with shared fates or grindy fate achievements. The Legendary tier achievement for Final Fantasy XIV is all 20 combat jobs and 8 crafter-gatherer jobs to level 100. At first glance, this might sound a bit easy. I've got multiple friends who have all combat jobs and crafter-gatherer jobs at 100, and that doesn't consider the wider player base full of people that I simply don't know. I'm sure most people watching this know of at least one person with all their jobs maxed out. It's not the most unusual thing to see, and there's certainly other things in the game that surpass that task in difficulty. Let me read again. All 20 combat jobs and 8 crafter-gatherer jobs to level 100. 1, 2, 3, 4. 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21. We currently have 4 tanks, 4 healers takes us to 8, 6 melee, 3 ranged, and 4 casters, not including limited jobs. Viper and Pictomancer with the release of Dawntrail took us to 21 combat jobs, not 20. That's odd. We also have 8 crafting jobs, and then 3 gathering jobs. It's hard to pass if the all in the requirement essentially means all of the jobs in the game, or just all the combat jobs and then 8 of the 11 crafter-gatherer jobs. Either way, it's all a bit odd, no? We're not even factoring in that you can buy combat job skips to level 90 on the online store. It doesn't mean you can outright buy the achievement here, but it definitely gets you closer than someone with a fresh account that doesn't buy a job skip. The university's educational rationale for this task is mastery of 28 distinct systems and professions. But in Final Fantasy XIV, there are systems such as Frontlines, Wondrous Tales, and the purchasable job skips, which all allow you to level a combat job without ever actually playing it. What mastery of distinct systems and professions can really be found here? Never mind, let's look at the mastery tier for up to $7,500 per year. What's something in the game that's roughly half as difficult as leveling all jobs? Maybe leveling half of the jobs, or doing all role quests. Okay, it's all role quests. And all 12 extreme trials cleared. This is where the confusion really hit. There's 46 extreme trials in Final Fantasy XIV currently, 8 of which are from Dawntrail, and the rest can be unsynced, with so many of them having potential to be able to solo them now. Those who are familiar with Final Fantasy XIV are probably able to recognise that 12 is likely to mean Savage raids. As Dawntrail is the current expansion, this is the Arcadian raids. I'm saying it plenty of times in this video, but it feels odd and confusing. I feel like a lot of people in the community might feel that completing Savage is significantly harder than leveling all of your jobs, even if the latter is an uninspired grind. Savage isn't impossible. I think a larger amount of the player base could do it if they had the confidence to get in there. It does then require finding others to join you, either in a static, which you hope will last at least as long as it needs to, or joining randoms in Party Finder, and sometimes feeling like you have to brute force your way through. It's not a small feat, but it's not an impossible one either. Why is this requirement that I imagine is generally going to be perceived as and considered harder or needing more skill is worth a smaller amount for a scholarship? Especially when considering some of the problems I mentioned previously for the legendary tier achievement requirement, in which you can level without actually playing a combat job, let alone understanding or mastering it. The educational rationale listed here doesn't make much sense either. It's stated as cross-role adaptability, but this requirement doesn't show that at all. The closest it gets to that is by completing role quests. You've leveled classes in different roles to do those quests. But like I've just said, it is fully possible in Final Fantasy XIV, in terms of the role quests, to only play a class within a role quest instance where it's required, without having touched it at any other moment in time. It might make people raise an eyebrow that some of the achievements in different tiers don't seem to feel fair. We've already touched on this by comparing the Final Fantasy XIV requirements, but what about other games? Whilst leveling your jobs in Final Fantasy XIV is not the most exciting or rewarding grind in this game, I feel like getting perfection in Stardew Valley is probably harder. There's an in-game tracker that when unlocked, things are considered late game, as a player is choosing to pursue perfection generally by that point. I've not played Stardew Valley further than Autumn Year 1, so I'll keep this short. But for perfection, there's multiple requirements. Some of them are reaching maximum hearts with every villager, reach level 10 in every skill, cook every recipe, craft all items, and catch all fish. According to the Stardew Valley wiki, what I've mentioned here only accounts for 46% of what's required to achieve perfection. Getting perfection in Stardew Valley awards the lower mastery tier of $7,500 a year. I have enjoyed Stardew Valley in my short playtime, but this feels like such a mountain compared to the Final Fantasy XIV requirement for the higher tier of scholarship value. The achievements range from being confusing as to what exactly they refer to being bafflingly easy. So what is the goal here? I firmly believe that hobbies and extracurricular achievement does have its place in allowing access to further education, in a world where there apparently must be requirements and barriers to access these things. But all of what I've presented here feels a little odd, no? Makes you wonder who, or maybe even what, set these achievement requirements, and who researched to ensure they were fair and accurate for the scholarship on offer. In terms of Final Fantasy XIV, it is possible that someone who had only heard of the game in passing set these achievement requirements, which might explain the 12 extreme trials kerfuffle. Or on a wider scale, how has it been decided that all Final Fantasy XIV jobs at max level is worth more than perfection in Stardew Valley, which is in the same tier as Genshin Impact's all Archon quests and 8 characters at Friendship 10. I've seen a mountain of responses online saying Genshin Impact's achievement requirement is laughably easy, with some people saying a fresh account could manage it in 2 to 6 months without much trouble. These achievement requirements are incredibly inconsistent. What does all this mean? Well, First of all, if you're applying for universities and scholarships, do as much in-depth research about the institution, what they offer, how previous students have felt, etc., regardless of how a scholarship might seem, related to gaming and your personal hobbies or otherwise. Please give yourself the opportunity to have as much information as you can whenever making a decision like that, as there can be so much to factor in. But on a more specific note, in the context of this scholarship, I don't know. My university days seem to be behind me, but if they weren't, I would be concerned by the inaccuracies and confusion in how things are written. I understand not everyone is going to be familiar with every game on the list, but we live in an age where we are able to research and talk to players and creators that dedicate themselves to various games and different elements of them at all kinds of levels. It can be hard to figure out equivalent activities between games, I'm sure, but these requirements do feel wildly inconsistent as examples. We are part of a world where we are able to not take one output as fact. We can collect opinions and cross-reference sources, and we should. If there must be barriers and requirements to access higher education, hobbies beyond the traditional classroom and extracurricular should be able to be considered. There's so much to be achieved in this world outside the realm of an exam room, but they need to be considered in a fair and consistent way. If the educational rationale for an achievement requirement doesn't match what is being asked of prospective students, it creates doubt and disconnect. There are real skills that can be learned by playing games, and institutions should be willing to recognise that in a serious manner if they are looking to recognise that at all. But let's leave things there for today.